now. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for letting me explain our proposal, which is entitled Pixel-Wise Labeling of RGB-D THU-READ Dataset. We have proposed on behalf of Nokia Labs and also in collaboration with Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. So basically, we are a group who are working on virtual reality stuff, and the role of egocentric perception become important in augmented virtuality since the incorporation of egocentric cameras on the virtual reality headset, as you can see here in the image. And in particular, semantic segmentation problem presents many benefits for our applications. For instance, if we segment person's body, the user sense of presence can be increased in those immersive environments. And also, if we segment real objects surrounding us, we can allow the users to interact with them while being immersed, which can be also very useful for training purposes. Here I'm showing you an example of one application that we have in our lab. So basically here the idea is to merge a 360-degree video of a real beach with certain uptimes from your local reality, in this case, your hands and some food items. So the previous video, the segmentation method used for the previous video was based on color, which has the advantage of being very computational light, but also it constrains the environment a lot. There are also some approaches based on depth, which ideally works well, but in practical, there still provide many noise artifacts, and we do not have full controls on the objects to be segmented. We have also explored in the past deep learning approaches, and that can allow us to segment more complex objects, such as arms, including the clothes, or even the entire whole body. But again, we have a lack of egocentric dataset with pixel-wise labeling. That's why we decided to create our own semi-synthetic dataset. You can have more detail on our paper, and also if you want to see the status of our work, you can visit our poster later in the day. But I can anticipate you that the performance in terms of the human body part is quite reasonable, but we still have some false positives coming from the background because background variabilities and limits. So we thought that including depth as a complementary information for those networks can be a good idea. But again, we found a problem that there's no egocentric dataset multimodal comprising depth, which contains pixel-wise labeling. So among the datasets available in the literature, we found three, maybe there are more: THU-READ, first-person hand action benchmark, and Egocentric. We decided to use THU-READ because it contains continuous values of distances for the depth image. And also, we discarded the first-person hand action because it has the mock-up system on top of the dorsum, which we are not interested in. So a little bit of information for this dataset. It was acquired by the Tsinghua University. It contains 960 videos from comprising 40 different egocentric actions, like the hands of the user interacting with different objects, those videos were performed, those actions were performed by 8 different users in 3 times. You can see here an example of the setup. And also here, like a little bit more an idea of how this dataset looked like. So our proposed annotation tags would imply that from every of the selected range, we will ask the Turks to segment the whole body and also the object that is interacting with the human body parts among any of the 33 predefined categories. Also an extra one to contain no defined objects. So we thought that around a couple of 3,100 images could be enough to have a little bit of the variability of the entire data set. Also taking into account that we are constrained by the budget that we can ask. The idea would be that the Turks need to define the boundary of the whole body and also the object interacting with the body with at least 30-point polygon. And we thought also that maybe 5 minutes per assignment could be a reasonable time, but of course we are happy to hear your thought or feedback if anybody has done this before. in order to validate a little bit the quality of the labeling, we decided that every image would be labeled by 2 different tags. Here is an example of the segmentation API from the Amazon Mechanical Turk tool. So in concerns the quality check, what we will do is to compute the intersection over union between the 2 label images for a particular image. And in those cases in which that value do not surpass a predefined threshold, we will do a manual check of what's happening in this labeling. Otherwise, we will randomly choose one of the 2 images. So we basically ask less than $1 per image. And our idea is here as, okay, we have 3,840 images, but we ask 2/3 per image. So that implies that we have to pay double this amount of images. After exploring a little bit what is the average salary of Amazon Mechanical Turk, we understood that 37 cents per 5 minutes would be a reasonable price. But then you have to add the 20% of the fee from Amazon and also the 5% if you want to assure that those Turks holds a master qualification. And then some approximate timings. We believe that by mid-July and July, we can have the platform prepared, and then we will open the task for 1.5 months, depending also on how fast the Turks are fulfilling the task. And then we will need a couple of months to proceed that data and do a little bit of experiments on our own. And we think that by the end of November, we will be able to release the dataset. We are not sure yet whether we will hold the labeling images on the website of the original THU-READ dataset or on the servers of one of the universities surrounding us, collaborating with us. So that's all from my side. Yes, basically we think that the impact that this dataset may have, apart from semantic segmentation, which is our interest, could be that also for action recognition, the role of semantic information can also give a hint or improve the results in this line of research. So thank you very much for your attention.
Great, thank you, Esther. If anyone has any questions, please post them in chat. There's one from Waltero saying, are 2 MTurks per image too little for quality checks?
Is this a question or a statement?
It's a question. Like, do you think it's too, like, obviously there's like a balance with mechanical Turk.
Yeah, I was doing we were doing different configuration experiments in terms of number of images and number of Turks. Of course, probably would be better to have at least 3 per image, but because in that sense we can play some rule of majority or whatever. But we thought that could, if we have 3 Turks, maybe we do not have that many images, and that would also downgrade the number of images that we want to be reasonable to have some reasonable training as well.
Thank you. I have a question actually. Have you tested how long it takes someone to annotate an image? Because I guess with masks it can be quite detailed and slow.
Yeah, actually we have done some manual labeling on our own, but just for a small subset for real tests on real data. And we know that this is a very boring task and so on. But yes, we have try ourselves, and maybe yes, between 2 and 5 minutes could be if you are concentrated on the task. If you are doing other things, then but that would not count. I have not mentioned, but I think in the Amazon Mechanical Turk proposals, Turks are not being paid until the owner of the task verify that the task has been fulfilled, given the requirements. So that would be also something that we will do.
Great, thank you very much.